Hi guys, this is Vijay. So today uh, we are going to talk about Arista VXLAN configuration. So there are two types of the VXLAN which we have in the devices. First is VXLAN with the flood and learn mode. It means layer 2 VXLAN, and we have VXLAN with the EVPN, which is you can say that the control plane VXLAN. So if you have not gone through the NXOS VXLAN flood and learn mode, I would highly suggest you that watch that video. That's going to be helpful for you. The series of this one is to continue with the Arista VXLAN with the Arista devices. And the first topic going to be the VXLAN flood and learn mode, how we can achieve that VXLAN without the control plane protocols such as EBPN and BGP, right? So we have this lab where we have leaf and spine scenario, and between leaf and spine scenario, we have these devices configured as a MLAG. So what is the MLAG? Uh, you can watch my MLAG series video. We have a leaf and spine where we have AES Arista devices, and these are the hosts which are connected to the our leaf switches. Okay, and the task is to have a one VLAN, which is a VLAN 10 across the leaf switches, all the four leaf switches, and make that communication without having a control plane protocol with the VXLAN. This is our logical design, which I'm going to do that. We have spine switches, we have leaf switches. On the leaf switches, we have a loopback 0, which is going to use as a VXLAN source interface. We have a VLAN, which we are going to configure on all the leaf switches. Okay, and I'm going to extend this VLAN host interface using the VXLAN between all the leaf switches over here. Okay, underlay I'm going to use as a OSPF, and you can use ISIS, BGP, anything you can use. And overlay I'm going to use as a VXLAN terminal. We do not VXLAN terminal only with the data plane, flood and learn mode, not the control plane, because we do not have a EVPN here. That EVPN series I'm going to cover in a different series. So let's go into the requirement here is. So this is the lab scenario which we have. We have Arista devices. We have a Arista 1, 2, which is configured the MLab, and already we have configured these IP address on the Arista devices for the VLAN 10. All the Arista devices having the VLAN 10, which is same segment /24, and also we have a host which are connecting to our leaps, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. They also have the same segment VLAN 10 IP address. Okay, we have a leaf and spine switches pre-configured, and also IP address is already pre-configured. I'm also having a OSPF configuration between the leaf and spine devices. Also, we have a loopback 0, which is advertised into the OSPF, and this interface I'm going to use as a source interface of the leaf switches for the VXLAN configuration. Also, VLAN 10, I'm going to use this as a VNID. You can use any VNID. I'm going to use this VNID. I'm source interface. I'm going to use as a loopback 0 on all the devices. Okay, Uh, and this is the excuse me. So let me show that the lab which we have here. All right, so this is the lab I have. Let me power on all the devices. We have leaf and spine switches. So we have this device belong to the VLAN 10. All the devices belong to the VLAN 10. And these devices are already, I have configured the MLAG, and we have already configured the OSPF running between them. Only the VXLAN configuration is pending. So let me show that what configuration I have done. If I open my spine switches and the leaf switch 1, leaf switch 2, and leaf switch 3, leaf switch 4. Just give me a second. If I say skip keyboard, right? So I have this one. I type admin. Just wait for a second. It may take some time to initialize the devices. I have 4.29 2F. Just wait for a second. Let's wait for 2 more minutes and till this initialize that. I'm going to pause the video. All right. So if you'll see that here, devices are coming up with the few configuration. If I say admin, I have already few pre-configuration over here. Admin enable switch 3. Uh, this must be the leaf switch 4. Okay, so if you show that on the spine switches, if I show this one on the leaf switch 1, connecting one's port number 8, 9 connecting to the leaf spine switches, port number 1, 2 connecting to the another leaf switches, port 3, 4, 5 are connecting towards the my host devices. If I say that show LLDP neighbor, in the LLDP neighbor, this is all the details I have. Leaf port number 1, 2 and 6, 8, 7, 8 are connecting. If I say the show IP interface brief, you will see that I have this many interface which have been configured for the on the leaf switches. I have an interface which I having a layer 3 interface going towards the spine switch 1, spine switch 2. This loopback 0 interface I have here for the VXLAN configuration /32. I have a VLAN 10 also. I have this VLAN 4094 for the MLAC configuration. If I show that configuration of my entire leaf switch 1, so this is the leaf switch 1 configuration I have. Okay, I have this VLAN reserved for the peer link. We have a configuration for MLAC. We also have this layer 3 configuration towards the spine switch. I have one loopback 0 which is configured for the VXLAN. On the spine switch, what configuration I have done here? If you see here, on the spine switches, I have interfaces which are layer 3 interface going towards all the leaf switch 1, 2, 3, 4 are having a IP address. You in production environment usually we configure 9000, not 1500. But here, since this is the normal one, configure the 9000. But we will see that here MTU size is 65,000 for the loopback 0 because loopback 0 I'm going to use as a VXLAN source. VXLAN does not support the fragmentations, so it need a jumbo MTU. You will see that here what configuration I have done. Just simple interface configuration on the leaf switches, on the spine switch, one loopback address, as well as I've configured the OSPF advertising all the configuration into the area 0. If you see that here, entire leaf and spine configurations are into the OSPF area 0, except the VLAN 10, which is the host interface, all loopback 0, and these interfaces, physical interfaces, must be running the OSPF, except the loopback, except the VLAN 10. Okay. Now, if I go to the leaf switches now, okay, on the leaf switches, what extra configuration I have? Show run this configuration router OSPF and except the MLAC configuration and the VLAN 10 configuration. VLAN 10 is in 190 to 168. I have configured over here. Even if you see that Arista switches 2, this is the configuration I have. Okay. Now, if you see the so IP OSPF neighbor, I should have the OSPF neighborship with these routers as well as these Arista switch spine switch 1 and 2. Arista switch 1 and 2, and we have a uh, OSPF running between the uh, switches here. If I go here now, what I'm going to do here is I am going to configure VXLAN on the switches on switch 1, 2, 3, 4, where I'm going to say that there is a two option for the flood and learn mode configuration, flood and static configuration. There is a two mode of the flood mode configuration. One is using the multicast address. You do not need to specify that where is your destination, where is your source. But this is a flood and static mode I'm going to do here is, so I'm going to configure the one VXL interface where I'm going to point that if there is any traffic from VLAN 10, where to reach, where to reach. So I'm going to define that this loopback address as a flooding destination on the leaf switch 1. Similarly, likewise, I'm going to do the configuration on the leaf switch 3 to 4. I'm going to say that if there is any VLAN 10 traffic, you have a flooding address, loopback address of the another leaf switch. I'm not going to configure VXLAN on the spine switches over here. So another option is we have a multicast base. You just define the multicast address, you configure the route reflector over here, and let the route reflector do all the discovery and the communication for you, which I'm going to cover in the second part of the video. Uh, on this part, I'm going to configure how to do the static flooding over here. Okay. So what command I have to put here is on the leaf switch 1, I'm going to say that interface VXLAN 1, source interface is loopback 0, UDP port is 4789, which is a VXLAN UDP port. I'm going to say that VLAN 10, this is the VN ID. VXLAN flood tap is if there is any traffic from VLAN 10, reach to switch 2, switch 3, switch 4. I'm not going to give the switch 1 because it's a self IP address, right? If I go to the leaf switch 1, say that, configure this. Then similarly, excuse me. Similarly, I'm going to do the configuration on the leaf switch 2. On the leaf switch 2, I'm going to say that if there is any VXLAN traffic, you have to flood the next hop is switch 1, switch 3, switch 4. Go here. Then now I'm going to do the next configuration for the switch 3 and 4. In the switch 3 and 4, I'm going to say that flood in switch 1, switch 2, switch 4, except the switch 3. Likewise, on this switch, I'm going to say flood the traffic to switch 2, switch 1, switch 4. Okay, switch 3, copy this. Right here, I'm going to say that you need to flood to the switch 3 also, switch 2 also, switch 2, switch 3 on the switch 4, switch 4 here. Now, if you see that sort and configuration, I should have the VXLAN configuration on all the devices, though this VLAN 10, if you see that so running configuration, VLAN 10, we do not need to advertise into the OSPF. Okay, so VLAN 10 is since part of the VXLAN, you do not need to advertise this VLAN 10 into the OSPF or any protocol. Okay, underlay protocol I'm talking about. If you see that here, exit. So running configuration over here. Now, how to do the verifications? So there are certain commands which you can run. So I have a Cisco Arista portal over here. From here, you can find the VXLAN detail. Okay. So if you see that here on all the switch 4, I have a VLAN 10, which is at 192.168.0.4. If I go to the leaf Arista switch 1, so IP interface brief, this is my VLAN 10 IP address. If I try to ping from VLAN 10.1 to .4, it should be able to ping. Now, if you see that so IP route, if you see that, though I do not have 192.168 in my OSPF routing table, but I should be able to still ping that 0.4. If I say ping 192.168.0.4, look here, I'm able to ping. If I able source this interface, um, source the VLAN 10, I should be able to ping. Now, if I say that, so IP ARP, I should be able to see that this ARP by the VXLAN interface. Okay. On the leaf switch 1, I have a MLAC. Since I have a MLAC configuration, so I have few ports like these ports which are being configured as a MLAC for this one. Okay. Now, if you see that here, there are certain commands which you can run here. So VXLAN VTAP. If I type to so VXLAN VTAP, if I type so VXLAN VTAP, look here, saying that you have a VTAP as a next hop tunnel for these three devices from the switch 1. Switch 1, you have a tunnel to 1, 2, 3. You can run the VRP also in order to get the virtual IP address. If you see that this is the command flood VTAP. This is the flooding VTAP for the VLAN 10. You can have also a service VXLAN also. So service, so VXLAN is the command for that. So service VXLAN over here. Status. This is the detail you can find it over here. Okay, you can get the even interface detail of the VXLAN. So same thing. If I go here, so VXLAN flood VTAP. See, same thing. So ARP you can type here. If I type so IP ARP on the switch 4 also. So MAC address, if you type so MAC address detail, these are the MAC address coming from where? VXLAN ID for VLAN 10. Okay. So this is how you check here VXLAN detail, You can type here so NB interface, so active interface, all the details, all the commands. There are few commands which you can try to run that. You can run the multiple scenarios with the VXLAN. If it has so interface NB VXLAN 1, to check that what's the status of the interface. So interface VXLAN 1. This is the details of it, saying that VXLAN 1 interface is up, which you have configured, and saying that the MAC address learning is via the data plane, not the control plane. Once you configure the EVPN mode of the VXLAN, it will convert into the control plane. You will see that all the dynamic VLAN is configured, and these are your next hop, which you have static configuration over here. This is the VXLAN configuration you have. This is the port. This is the your active source interface which we have. Okay, this is the MLAC router IP address which we have. This is the you can get that what the ARP table is ARP entry is coming from the this particular interface. All the details you can figure it out from here. So VXLAN status you can find it where you can have a MAC address learning, all the details rather. Okay, you can have a VXLAN address table also where you can figure it out how many devices are configured and what's the MAC address I'm running over. So VXLAN service, so VXLAN address table over here. It's saying that you have a these devices from this device, how many MAC address, sorry, excuse me, coming, and from this device, how many MAC addresses coming, right? So this is all about the VXLAN. If you see that these host devices, I have nothing, just to have a server interface configuration over here, which we like VLAN 10 on these devices. If I try to ping switch 4 from here, I should be able to ping from here. From here, I should be able to ping these devices because this is a pure layer 2 and I have a port channel configuration on these devices. So run here. If you see that, I have a port channel configuration dot on queue over here. Okay, on this router, I have a OSPF configuration. If you say so IP interface brief, I have a OSPF configuration using the VLAN, sorry, loopback 0 and port channel 1 with here. If I type a so IP OSPF neighbor, I should be having a OSPF neighbor, two OSPF, one with the leaf switch 1, second with the leaf switch 2 over here. Okay. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next module, which is I'm going to explain that VXLAN EVPN over here and with the lab. Thanks for watching.